As you've heard today several times, if you can't grow it yet, it's not legal. We've got to get there. You don't need the Washington State Liquor Control Board to come between you and the cannabis plant. You don't need those guys to tell you, oh, okay, you can have some, but just an ounce at the time. That's why we're not where we need to be yet. The reason we need to be there is because this relationship between the human species and the cannabis plant is something that's been going on, according to the best archaeology we have, for at least 12,000 years. We have such a close relationship to this plant that it responds intelligently to our needs. If you are interested in knowing more about the coevolution of the human species and the cannabis plant, you might want to start out by Googling endocannabinoid system. If you want to take a shortcut, you can try out tokesignals.com. If you want a short history of the relationship between us and this plant, which has changed human society in a lot of different ways, you can read a book I wrote called The Little Black Book of Marijuana. It's been out for about 3 years now, and as a matter of fact, a new edition is coming out later this year, updated with the latest legalization information. Until we have reached the end zone, until we can all grow without fear, until we can smoke in public, until we can share with our friends, until we can finally get rid of the faulty idea that we need to regulate this stuff out of existence, we're not where we need to be. I hear a lot about regulate marijuana like alcohol. Why in the world would you want to regulate a non-poisonous plant the way you do a deadly poison? Alcohol will kill you if you drink too much of it. Marijuana's not going to do that. You don't want to regulate marijuana like alcohol. You want to regulate marijuana like tomatoes. Therefore, it shouldn't be regulated like alcohol is. We are not going to be where we need to be until marijuana is treated as another vegetable in the garden. We all want to be able to grow. We all want to be able to carry forward this wonderful tradition, this 12,000-year human tradition responsible for the very beginnings of civilization. We want to carry that into the future. We don't need anybody to come between us and that wonderful heritage. And let me tell you, cannabis is your birthright. Cannabis is your heritage. Don't let anybody tell you it isn't. Don't let anybody tell you you should be ashamed of the fact that you have a relationship with this plant. This plant responds to our needs. It produces the cannabinoids we need for homeostasis. It allows us to balance our minds and our bodies. It allows us to come together peaceably as human beings. The goal which we seek, which is furthering the relationship of humanity in this cannabis plant, is more important than any of our individual personalities. It's more important than any of our individual egos. And I, for one, am not going to give up until we all reach that end zone together.